And away we go. Welcome, grimdark enjoyers, to another installation of the Grimdark Therapy podcast. The boys are back, reunited on the channel. Feels good. I'm joined by both of my favorite hosts, favorite co-hosts of this podcast of ours.
You're only co-host. What are you talking about? You don't have
North-
any others.
Northern Exile and Maka of the Outer Circle, and Northern Exile of the Northern Exile channel.
Hello.
The topic for this one was actually one I wanted to suggest a few episodes back. And it's at least where we're starting today's discussion. And it came to me while I was doing a lot of thinking on Wargear, just musing on the things I would like to have, the things I would wish Games Workshop would do better. It sort of came to a head during the Horus Heresy 3.0 Wargear controversy. But I still think it's a fairly evergreen topic for Games Workshop's rules writing philosophy in general. But that topic is Wargear the true creative core of the hobby? Because I think it might be. Because when you compare the gameplay loop of most of the GW wargaming systems, the gameplay loop doesn't necessarily offer the most creativity in the actions you take on the tabletop, right? You're essentially, at best, to me it seems, and I think you guys would agree, we'll see, essentially it seems to be movement. Movement seems to be the most satisfying gameplay element of what we do on the tabletop. And I think fight phase is tangentially related to that. But because of that, I can't help but feel a great amount of the creativity, the player expression, comes in the warrior options that everyone chooses to opt for. Because it fairly obviously characterizes your collection or your army, your force that you're assembling on your hobby desk, which you would bring to the table. So that's sort of what has led me to this position, because I think Wargear option is like everything, right? I mean, sure, painting your models is crucial to your player expression, but Wargear options have a gameplay mechanic consequence tied into them in a way painting really doesn't. I mean, Games Workshop's kind of blurred the lines for what that means anyways, and even in 40k, on the 40k side of the equation, they've blurred those lines in 10th edition insofar as, you can play any detachment with whatever you want, but you could have always used Ultramarines rules if you really wanted to with your Salamanders. It wouldn't have mattered, technically, right? There's no rules for it. But there are, or were, currently still is, knock on wood, gameplay mechanics tied to Wargear. But not for combi weapons. You can say goodbye to those.
Too much expression.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys both agree with that.
I think I want to use my mate Simon as an example.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the original Grey Knight players in our group, and he had a Grey Knight army which was all hammers. Like, everybody had a hammer, and it was really expensive. It was 25% smaller than the average Grey Knight army because everybody had demon hammers, even the Dread Knights. His warlord, his librarian, every sergeant and every Justicar, every one of his squads had a demon hammer, and it was just a theme that he went with. So these are the hammers of Titan. This is what they are. They come down and they smash down. They beat people up. They always go last in combat, but I'm going to buff them to make sure that hopefully they don't go down and they get a chance to swing with these massive, great big hammers. And it was a really cool theme, and he won and lost a lot of games. Like, I would say he won about 60% of his games, which is about right for the time. But it was just always a blast to play him, because you knew, like, you needed to level these guys down or you're going to get an absolute hurt. And he was able to express himself through his army. In 10th edition, he can still do that. He can still have all demon hammers in his army, but it doesn't mean anything, right? It's a force weapon. That's it. Like there's no, do you know what I mean? There's no expression there. There's nothing. There's no difference between his army and my army. Right? I could have all force halberds, and there's no real difference. Right? We've got the same army essentially. That is something tangential to. It's not about gaming gains. It's about player expression, and that was the one thing that got him to walk away. He was a local player that I could play against who now no longer plays 40k. He's gone over to Malifaux and BattleTech and things like that because he can express himself in those games. He's even gone back to play old style Inquisitor, the RPG. Because it's just he can express himself and he can't in this one anymore. So yeah, it sucks. But Wargear is crucial to player expression, beyond crucial in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. What about you, Maka? How is that on the 30k side of things? I can't help but feel it's probably incredibly crucial to add that character to your Legion, right? And you would do that.
Well, a huge part of the Horus Heresy is the unique war gear that each Legion has. It's unique to them, therefore it represents a part of their personality. When you see Thousand Suns and those Khopesh curved swords, you instinctively know who that is. And when you see Space Wolves with frost weapons, when you see Nostraman Chainglaves, you understand cringy Night Lords players, right? You instinctively know, right? Even when you see like the big tyrannic great swords, executioner's swords, you know that that's Deathwing that you're looking at. That's Dark Angels players, right? Knightly heraldry is going on. Wargear, World Eaters, all their Wargear is based around like gladiatorial fights. So it's not just the chain axes, it's like meteor hammers and barbed flesh hooks and falx blades and things like that. So, it's character. And when you're playing a game like Horus Heresy, a huge part of that game system is the making it yours, right? Because when you have a Legion to play with, that's a huge tapestry. The canvas you can paint when you have 100,000 plus Marines, or in case of something like Ultramarines, 300,000 Legionaries to pick from, you got some interesting little companies that exist within that Legion that you can do a theme around. And so having the Wargear options to do so, and not just having it being generic Marine who is differentiated sheerly by the color of his armor, is a big deal. Because that's part of the draw. If I just want to play power armor, I could do that in 40k.
Oh yeah, I definitely get what you're putting across there. And you know what, maybe you can fill me in and perhaps anyone in my audience who's also unsure how things have resolved on the Horus Heresy side of things. Has that all been remedied with the FAQs?
No, enough of a band-aid that it will please many people. So they added back in a lot of what they took out, but as a downloadable PDF, which, pros and cons of that aside, it added gear back for a lot of legions, but not for every legion. I think it's just in a place where people are, if they're willing to give the edition a try in the first place, then they'll be happier with that war gear. If they didn't like the edition like myself, then it doesn't matter in the first place. So, because I'm not playing that edition.
Right, yeah. Wargear options can only circumvent so much of so many problems that are more fundamental to the edition's core rules. So that's
it's intrinsic, right?
Yeah,
and it also goes along with, as I mentioned at the end of last week's episode, your army rules, because I feel the two are kind of hand in hand tied together.
Oh yeah, one will certainly impact the other.
Do any of you guys think this is an aversion to work? Because any game that has in-depth war gear is inherently harder to balance in terms of army rules and how all of these rules link in together than simply having, say, as my example before, this is a demon hammer, this is a force halberd, they're the same thing. You know what I mean?
I would counter that by simply saying, then why do they add so much other bloat in the rules elsewhere? Do you need Invicta war suits, Paragon war suits, all this other crap that functionally it's a dreadnought?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Or you know what I mean?
Well,
Like
that's selling models, isn't it?
yeah, that's
You
what,
know
that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
But the thing is, every one of those can't just be what exists already. It can't just be another variant of the same thing. So they have to give it a gimmick, which means writing some rule that makes it gimmicky, which means you're adding bloat and messing with the balance regardless.
Yeah.
So you're just creating the same problem just from a different direction, if that makes sense. Or am I just
No, I mean, there's something to it, because look, if all your units are stripped of their Wargear options, or at least, I mean, okay, obviously, Invictor Warsuit's a good example here, because that does technically have Wargear options, but if you compare it to what Dreadnoughts used to offer, the versatile platform that was the Dreadnought, right? A lot of that is removed, and now if you want a heavy flamer type weapon, a vehicle-based flamer, a vehicle-grade flamer, let's put it that way, on a walker, you have to go with the Invictor Warsuit. Because that's where the big flame cannon is for your Dreadnought. It's not on the Redemptor or the Brutalis or whatever else. So I think it might be serving both, because I do get the suspicion that GW Light, there is, I can't, you've hit something there, North. At least it resonates with me. I do get the vibe there is an aversion to work, but I think it also happens to serve the other criticism, the overblown units.
I think they're okay with introducing bloat if it means they're going to be able to. And let's be honest, when they introduce bloat elsewhere, it's not balanced. It's a unit. You just write the unit and in it goes. Right? You can have your Paragon Warsuits and this and that. They're like a big thing. You just plunk it in the codex. There it is. You know, it's quite easy to it should be quite easy to balance against other things that are in the game. Is this as good as another Dreadnought? Yes, good. It goes in the book, right? There are far more moving parts if every army has bespoke war gear that has different point values and does different things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are far more moving parts to a codex like that than simply adding, as Maka just said there, you know, bloat elsewhere where you have, you know, different unit types and things like that. You know, it's almost as if, well, it has far less moving parts. You can, one, it's going to sell models. It's a new Paragon Warsuit. We just brought it out. It's 90 bazillion pounds. You're going to love it. Yeah, and it comes out and people buy it and whatever. Whereas Wargear doesn't really add any value, because that stuff, especially in the legacy kits, that stuff that's already in the box. Unless they want to add stuff to the sprue, which is going to cost them even more money. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which is why I say it just seems that they're more averse to work, and that's what it is. It is, even writing Exile Edition, I can tell you now, it would be far easier for me to just give everybody the same Wargear but with different names than it would be for me to just add new units. Adding new units is easy.
They converted on that one.
You know, yeah. So yeah, adding new units is easy. You can just add a unit in 5 minutes because you know how the game's balanced because you wrote it, right? Well, you should do, you know. But
yeah.
But like,
you're a funny guy, North.
Yeah. So you know, adding new, it isn't difficult. Like I think we can all attest. Like if you say, "Oh, I want to do a new Space Marine variant," okay, there it is, 5 minutes. You know, it has a jump pack. It has Thunderhammer Storm Shield. It costs this much points because it's quite a powerful unit, and it has Deep Strike, and it can do a rapid redeployment once in a game.
But if that unit has the typical arsenal you would expect for the Astartes armory, then it's like, holy shit, look at all we have to account for this unit.
Yes, exactly. And as soon as you say, well, what if he doesn't have a Thunderhammer? What if he has a Halberd? What if he has dual Power Claws? This is why we don't have the Vanguard Veteran set anymore. You know, this is why you can't find that set for love nor money. They don't want to sell it. It has so many different options, so many different weapons that you could create anything that you want from it. And it's really, really, really hard to balance. And that's why
I would also counter that by saying, when you have, you know, infiltrators, incursors, phobos, scouts, they're functionally the same unit.
They are, yeah.
So trying to create a granularity, a difference between them, creates an inherent problem with balance anyway, because how do you take away from one of those units and give something to another without one of them feeling like the auto-include option?
Mm-hmm.
You create a balance problem from a different direction.
Yeah, well, we have that problem already.
Because it used to be, crazy thought here, but part of this bloat problem is where this comes from, because it's very easy to balance your Codex Wargear when you only have 8 units, 15 units in Codex. It's very hard to balance it when you have 12 units that do functionally the same job in the same, part of the army. It used to be that, like, take Space Marines, go back to 3rd edition, really dumb it down. You have Force Commander, really punchy character leading your army. You have Chaplain, tankier character, good for morale in your army, resilience. Librarian, Psyker, right? That's your HQ options. In your troops, it's, do you want power armor? Do you want scout armor? That's your options. One's infiltratey, has sniper rifles, your shotguns. The other one is it's power armor, right? It's heavy support. It's devastators. Predator, balanced firepower, can kind of take out tanks, can kind of take out squads. Doesn't excel in any one area. Or there's Whirlwind, or there's Vindicator, or there's Land Raider. That's it, right? They're all distinctly different units. Therefore, when you're writing rules and Wargear and such, you're not accounting for that many variables. The problem to me stems from having so many units that all have to vary from one another, and now you're not trying to account for, what if I put a Thunderhammer on 12 different units? It's what if I have to put a Thunderhammer on 20, 30, 40 different units? What happens then? You know what I mean? Like, the problem of balance is made harder because they insist on making more models. And this is going to have very different effects based on the faction. Marines, it's going to be a nightmare. But something like Necrons or Tau, it can't honestly be that hard to give them Wargear options.
Yeah, no, I think they're already having the problem, though. With the bands, they're already struggling to do it. So maybe I'm being a bit harsh by saying it's an aversion to work. Maybe it's an aversion to failure, like an aversion to like that. They know you give 40k players an inch, they'll take a mile. If you let them bring any sort of broken combination, they're going to do it. It's going to dominate the scene. As Mako just said there is a problem right now with redundant parts of codexes. There are certain parts of the Space Marine codex you just don't take. Why would you? There are other things in your codex that do the same job for cheaper.
Yeah, too many competing units in the same Force Org. Well, if we had Force Org, never mind that. Yeah. But you get what I mean.
One thing that, ironically, Wargear could solve is that problem, because you then give bespoke Wargear, so you have, okay, maybe why would you take Assault Marines over, say, Inceptors, right? Because Inceptors do a similar job, but they've got really good firepower as well. Well, what if your Assault Marines can now take things like a power weapon each and things like that? Yeah, maybe you can give them all bespoke Wargear. You can give them all. They've got another rule, which is like a Vanguard Strike, where they can pick themselves up from the tabletop and like deep strike somewhere else in the same turn. Something like that. To differentiate them with either special rules, or if we're not doing special rules, because today we're talking about Wargear. You give them better shooting. You can actually, you can give a player the power to say, what if I prefer the look of Assault Marines to Inceptors, right? What if I don't want your new jump back troops? What if I like the old jump back troops? Well, okay, here are your Wargear options. You can now still take them, and they're still going to be just as powerful in the modern 40k. That's, to me, is where the true value of Wargear is. It's giving old models new life. That you could very easily do it by just saying, okay, this Wargear that you have on your sprue is now available and has its own rules. I still think it's a very specific design choice that they did. They didn't just remove the Wargear. They said, no, all Wargear has very similar rules. That's, you know what I mean? That's something that can be reintroduced later on if they wanted to. And I think that's a very purposeful choice GW made. They said, we're taking it away for now. We may reintroduce it later. I don't know if they ever will again, but...
Yeah, well... not to sound like a fence rider here, but I think you guys both have there are elements to both your positions that seem right to me. It's a kind of muddy issue, which is why I figured I'd bring it up. So I kind of expected quite a bit of overlap, areas of disagreement and agreement, and overlap in that regard. Because if we look at characters, it seems very intentional, and it might be in part an aversion to work, right? Because as we mentioned, if it's on the sprue, Games Workshop is, for the most part, okay with having rules for it. There are exceptions, like the Grey Knight's force weapons and combi weapons, right? And those, to me, those kind of do feel like an aversion to work. Because at least it's... Like, you can understand the desire to limit Wargear options, unreasonably so, I would suggest, for units to not, like, you know, if you think you're a Space Marine, if you're a sergeant, you ought to be able to leverage the arsenal of the chapter, right? Like, you would think, from an in-world point of view, you shouldn't just be limited to what is sold in the kit in our world, right? Like, you know, in older editions, you would just have, oh, let me check the Space Marine armory for my options, right? And it wasn't perfectly, like, all the options weren't there in narrative, but you'd have a far greater set of options. So that is no longer served on units, because it seems, as Maka was suggesting, yeah, they want to have they want more products to sell, essentially, right? So you have all these subdivisions of special weapon teams, effectively, in the Space Marine side of 40k, right? All the, you know, the Hell Blasters, the Infernus guys. I can't remember what they're called. Oh, they're called Infernus Marines. None of that. Yeah. Whereas all of those would more or less be just a Devastator squad. You know, for the most part, your Desolation Marines would be like those would all be covered by one unit entry before. So I can understand to a degree. I think it's lame, super lame, even for gameplay reasons too, to subdivide Space Marines in that way. But on the Warlord side of things, I think it becomes a much more apparent of a problem, right? Like, you don't have, when you're Warlord, when you're your guy, the general who represents you, right? The Tau commander. Actually, maybe Tau commanders have all their options these days. I'm not sure. So that might be a bad example. But in Space Marines, it's very obvious that there are harsh lacks in the Wargear options available. It's like, you still can't have a Thunderhammer and Storm Shield for your Terminator Captain, which feels incredibly obtuse for a Terminator Captain, right? Meanwhile, the Joe Blow in the Assault Terminator squad, he has no problem of finding such weapons in the chapter, right? So it does feel very odd. Like, you'll have, and even to Maka's point about the Horus Heresy providing those kinds of options for flavor, it's still lacking on the 40k side of things on the captain level, because I don't think I can take hand flamers, you know, just options that are available in world and in different product lines, different kits, that's to say, on the captain. You're just not able to, because it's not sold in his kit, right? So if I'm playing a Salamander's chapter and I really want to lean into the Mimi theme of flamers, and we like to use hot weapons, right? And maybe the new Salamander's detachment, well, not new, second attempt at a Salamander's detachment, is really leaning into torrent weapons. So maybe there is a gameplay incentive still for this, right? They're not called flame weapons anymore. Let's call them torrent weapons. But you still can't do that, right? And actually, you have that. Another instance of that comes to mind is the Phobos Lieutenant that was added in the Leviathan box set, who has a combi flamer. But because all combi flamers are just combi weapons, like, a combi flamer doesn't exist. Because a combi flamer would have torrent, and then the torrent weapon could leverage into the Salamander's rules. But now you can't. So, yeah, so that's another, on the character level, on the Space Marine side, there certainly are some creative gaps that are, I feel, sorely affected by the lack of weapon options on these characters.
I think Maka's given us some homework.
Let's see.
Don't read it yet.
Okay. It's a surprise.
Yeah. So, I had a challenge for you. I hit enter a little early, so it just came across already. Do I look good in that underwear? But What was the best edition for Wargear for building an army of your guys? Right. So I'll break this down so it's even easier. Kaifa, best Tyranid Codex that was ever. What do you reckon it was?
Is it the 3.0 with the black and red bugs on the cover? Well, black and burgundy, I guess.
That was a pretty good one. I would have guessed you would say 4th edition, which is what the pictures I just sent are from. Kaifa. Actually, no, I'll do North. North, Grey Knights. What was their most thematic edition? I'm going to guess that you're going to say 4th or 5th.
5th. Yeah, 5th. No, yeah, 4th would be a very powerful codex, but not thematic. It was a little bit, but 5th was like chef's kiss. It was like, yeah.
Yep. Any guesses what we think the best codex for Chaos Space Marines was?
Oh, if I had to make a guess, I would have to go with 3.5.
Yeah.
Yes, 3.5. If you were to pick the best Guard Codex, the one that was like you could do the most thematic stuff with, what one would that be?
I'm not too familiar with older Guard.
Never
codexes.
played Guard. Yeah.
So, but if I had to guess, I'm sensing there's a trend here.
There is a big trend. 4th edition.
Oh.
4th edition, for sure. So, the way that many 4th edition factions worked for their rules was if it didn't have a specific... They would have a set of special rules. And if you wanted to play a particular faction, it would tell you you get this rule, and this rule. If you weren't playing that particular faction, though, if you wanted to play something homebrew, it said pick what rules you want. So Space Marines, for example, in 4th edition, hint, hint, what I think might be their best codex, said, all right, you can pick major, minor, positives, and negatives. If you pick a major positive, then you have to pick a major negative to go with it. So, for example, you might pick, I want an all-bike army where I can take bikes as troops, kind of like White Scars. And the consequence might be, every time you lose a squad of bikes, you give a victory point to the other player, would be the negative, as an example. So it had this system where you policed your own rules. And in there, as you can see in the pictures I sent you, you had Wargear options. Now, when you read these Wargear options, Tyranids especially, I think 4th edition was just chef's kiss. Because the way the Biomorphs system worked, I will also send you Hive Tyrant. One second while I do the screenshot of Rooney.
Yeah, no problem. I'll make sure to put these up in editing so the audience can see as well, because these are, they warm the heart. What we could have, right?
Warm the heart and enlarge the erection. So on these characters, it is, hey, these are the options of Wargear you can add, and it changed in points values from unit to unit. Typically, it was a lot cheaper to take on smaller units, so as in like smaller sized units, physically. In like, you know, for example, if you want to take adrenal glands on Gene Steal, it's going to be very different to paying for adrenal glands on a Hive Tyrant, right? They're going to charge you 15 points of Gene Steal for +1 initiative. But when you look at the weapons themselves, the weapons are very Tyranid themed. They scale their strength based off the model using it, because it makes perfect sense. A small model with a small gun is going to shoot very differently to that same type of weapon, but when it's being hefted by a Carnifex.
Mm-hmm. That's actually an excellent design space that is still available, just not
utilized.
Not utilized. Not really. Off the top of my head, I couldn't specify in 10th.
Yeah, and the same thing works with all of their close combat weapons. So these were really thematic rules. Now, questions about what is the best edition of 40k aside, you know, there are always going to be dissension over that. I love 4th edition's codexes. They all are just oozing with charm. Because when you have the ability to make, what would make Tyranids feel more like bioweapons than being able to customize every bioweapon in your army?
Be perfect. Yeah, because they're all spawned for the particular battle,
the job
right?
you want.
Yeah.
And you can add more stuff to them. The question is, how many points do you want to pay? So Demon Prince and the way that worked in 3.5 is, again, chef's kiss, in my opinion, because you had a Chaos Lord to start with, and then you start slapping on Wargear. There's a points limit, though. Once you pass over that points limit, the game says, guess what? You have now mutated your model so much, you've now ascended to demonhood. You now use the Demon Prince rules for this model, and no longer use the Chaos Lord rules. You've passed the threshold. You've mutated him so much, guess what? This just happened. So now you're got the rules of a demon. So then, like Grey Knights, for example, it plays very differently. So it's like, do you want to take your Lord and just run him very vanilla? Do you want to tool him right up? Do you want to tool him up so much that now he's an absolute monster, literally, but you've now made him super weak against something like Grey Knights? Like, what are you going to do? And what does that do for you when you do your list construction? And not just that, like building your army, you might want to make your Chaos Lord when he's like just coming up the ranks, then another version of him when he's an Uber Lord, and then another version of him when he ascends to demonhood.
Oh,
and
that's
encourages
fun,
you to
dude.
make multiple versions of that same guy.
Yeah,
that's
that's
cool.
super cool. I can't help but geek out about that. That's rad.
Yeah, so to me, that's stuff I really enjoy about those editions. So when, we asked this question, when you asked the question in particular, Kaifo, like, what is this Wargear represent? That's what comes to my mind. And in here, they even have that example of the Hive Tyrant. They're like, hey, what if you want to do an Acid Tyrant? And it's like, oh, cool, okay. The Hive Tyrant's 75 points. Add the Venom Cannon, that's going to cost you 40 points. The Scything Talons are 8. The Acid Maw is another 10 points. Enhanced Sensors is 10 points. The Extended Carapace is 25 points. The Toxic Miasma is 6 points. Toxin Sacs are 12 points. Yeah, it's a lot of points to add up. But holy crap, do you feel like you're playing a war game and you're not playing a board game?
Yeah, that is an excellent point. And like, yeah, because that's a gameplay feature that didn't come to mind initially. So that's an excellent point, Maka. This rules design space that gets squandered, this game design space, rich game mechanics, good narrative opportunities to be yielded, like as you've illustrated with the Chaos Lord, literally making steps along the path to demonhood because of these upgrades, and Wargear options are a part of upgrades. That's kind of left on the table or not really usable in the current paradigm, which is super dissatisfying when you think about it. Like, anytime you have a rule set that allows you to create multiple iterations like that of the same character, and it's an exciting prospect, it's not like this laborious thing you have to do, I think that's an indicator of a rich design space. Or like good player feedback. What's the word I'm looking for? The reward seems worth it.
Agency,
the hobby
player
efforts.
agency.
Yes. Yeah, player agency certainly fits into that.
And I'm not saying it's the perfect system, don't get me wrong, and I'm not saying it's for everyone. But if I wanted to play an edition of 40k where I could really just go all out, just absolutely my heart's content, all my desires come true, that's the sort of codexes I want. Where every single thing I do, and I can have so much fun with it. If I'm playing Chaos 3.5, I might have a sergeant who whiffs in the assault phase. We've all done it, right? Swings his power fist, double ones for wounds, does nothing. Next turn, I go, you know what, I'm going to summon my demon. I want to summon my bloodthirster. He needs a character model to be summoned from. Yeah, that sergeant who messed up. Guess what you're becoming, buddy?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And Tyranids, I think, like, that was the high point for them. They never hit the same high again as they did in that edition. So I think fourth for most armies, and there's a couple that I would say maybe Grey Knights, Necrons, Dark Eldar, 5th edition for their high point. I'd be very curious to see what the chat after the video, like the comment section, actually thinks about my TED talk Thank you for all participating.
Yeah, definitely share your comments in the below the video on Maka's points, because yeah, that isn't, dude, I can't help but feel a fondness for such a paradigm.
Yeah,
I'll share as well. I'll take a screenshot for 3.5 Chaos Wargear and send that to you as well in a sec.
Yeah, by all means.
Well, there's always sidestep. So even if we sidestep the more in-depth rules discussions, and we say, okay, let's park that. Going into, shall we say, the narrative side of 40k, there is so much that Wargear does for that. You know, why does my guy have dual swords? Well, let me tell you about the backstory of my guy, right? You know, and by the way, these aren't just two power weapons that are just in the codex and that's just what they are. No. One of them is a relic blade from the chapter armory, a Primarch blade, and the other one is a falchion dual, whatever it is, from the. Do you know what I mean? Like you can, and the book backs you up and says, "Yep, that's what your guy is now." Right? Again, you will get situations with, remember the Smash Captain? I think everyone remembers the Smash Captain, right? You know, things like that. Or Smash Captain on a bike, which used to be the thing. So yeah, you would have dudes like that all the time. You the optimal way of taking your war gear, fine. And they wanted to step away from that, I get that. But you lose so much of the narrative spin if you neuter the player's creativity by taking away war gear, making it uniform. It just becomes, as Maka said, a board game rather than a game where you can express yourself. A war game, you know.
Yeah, it definitely has a. I don't want to say scathing. It has an edge to it, but I think that's indicative of the reality of things, right? When you call it a board game, because it does kind of reek of those kind of design hallmarks, right? The lack of customizability, only using what's available to you in the kit. Because as Maka said, like, I'm looking at this Hive Tyrant datasheet with all the options. Just, you feel almost spoiled for options looking at it. But it just seems so rich, right? Just able to create your Hive Tyrant, right? What's your Hive Fleet's hook, right? What's their special evolved kind of purpose? What are they intending to do with their characterization? Well, now you're able to very much reflect that, right?
Well, it rewards you for paying close attention to the rules. You know, if you read your codex cover to cover, and you really know what you want your army to do, then yeah, you can absolutely delve deep down into the rules and create exactly the thing you had in your mind. Or you can just go box standard and just be like, yeah, do you know what? I'm just going to select the box standard loadout, go with that. I just want a Hive Tyrant. That's fine. But if you really want to get in there, you really want to parse things apart and say, okay, all of my dudes are going to be winged. We're going to be from the sky Tyranids, you know?
Hell yeah.
So, you know, everyone's going to be flying because we are dragons. We are the 40k version of xenomorph dragons. So all of my tyrants have wings. All of my carnifexes have wings. Everything's got fucking wings if they can have wings. Great. It's there.
Yeah.
40 points. Right? You do that. It's fine. No problem. You know.
And then what a great payoff that is, right? When you walk up to a table and see an army like that, and then everyone understands the choices made. It's like, oh shit, you've put wings on everything. This is nuts. This is cool. I love it. You have a lot more of that kind of reactions happening because people understand the creative choices that were available and what you've committed to realizing. And
well, it's the problem I've brought up quite a few times when you walk up to a table, and it's a problem in both ways, right? Because sometimes you walk up to a table and you've got no idea how the opponent's going to play, not because of their expression, but because the codex is so bog standard and grey sludge that you just know Space Marines are going to do this, Grey Knights are going to do this, you know, and that's where you go. But there is a certain what I was wrong about in that is there is a certain part of the hobby where that's supposed to be the case, right? You're supposed to be going up to a Tyranid player and going, okay, in some form or another, I'm going to be encountering swarm warfare here. In some form or another, right, I'm going to be, having big monsters. But every single codex should have 2 or 3 ways to play within their larger remit. So the larger remit of Blood Angels would be striking from the sky, right, and losing yourself in close combat to the Black Rage, right? That should be their thing. But within that thing, you should be able to do, well, I'm going to be more heavy firepower. I'm going to be more heavy, you could be able to choose what you're going to do. Right now, the problem is all Space Marines tend to play the same. Doesn't matter who you are, right? Blood Angels and Space Wolves and Salamanders all play basically the same with very small differences. Thing with this is that I could go up to a Tyranid player playing this codex, and yeah, I've got it hits that sweet spot. I kind of know what the Tyranids are going to do, and then I turn up, and there's lots of wings over there. Hang on a minute. Did you pay for all those wings? Yep. That's why I've got 2 less squads of Hormagaunts, because I nuked them, and I paid for my wings. Right. Okay. Do they start in Deep Strike? You bet your ass they do. Oh, shit. Right? That kind of stuff. There's no that feeling anymore. It's literally, oh, there's Tyranids. Okay, I know what I'm going to be coming up against here. It's fine. And whilst there is a certain element that should be a case, I should know around about what an army is going to do. I should still be surprised every now and again through player expression. Games Workshop should give you the army, the bog standard Space Marine army. There you go. But how you express yourself within that sandbox should be up to you. It should be up to the general who has that. And by the way, general, not player. That's a distinction. You're a general, and you're picking your army to task to go into battle now. Your immersion should start the minute somebody challenges you to a game. Right? So Kaifa comes in and says, "Right, North, do you want to play a game against my Tyranids? Yeah, cool. I'll go get my Exile Blades, my Dark Angels dudes. Awesome. Right, so I'm going to be against Tyranids. I'm going to create a force, and you're sitting there in your mind's eye. You're on the fucking dropship. You're like, okay, this guy's going in. This guy's going in. Okay, you get that dickhead sergeant. I can only give you 3 men, not 10. Piss off. That kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So you have fun, and you're there with it. You can't really do that without Wargear options. It's the main mode by which you express yourself, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, again, I just totally agree. I'm looking over this Hive Tyrant data sheet. And just to see options like Twin Linked Devourer, I'm like, oh,
I'll send you a PDF after if you want.
Yeah, it's like, look, I make this point with the rules writing or Wargear options writing philosophy in 10th edition 40k. You see the historically standard Wargear options like Thunderhammer, Storm Shield lacking on Terminator captains. It doesn't make any sense. Why can't he go to the armory and requisition what he wants? But the Hive Tyrant not being able to spawn whatever it wants, because there's no physical asset, there's nothing that needs to be mastercrafted or artisanally made in the armory or the chapter relic. There's no way it goes missing because the Tyranids spawn whatever they need. So it's crazy to me that you don't have options.
There you go. That PDF picture I just sent you there is the Chaos 3.5 Wargear selection options.
Perfect. I will download it and put it up. Yeah, look at that list. That's even having an armory.
A lot.
Yeah. Well, it's
and you'll see in there that is just the core list, right? But on the right hand side of it, or starting in the bottom middle of the page, you have the faction specific to Khorne, Slaanesh, Nurgle, and Tzeentch. You don't have to be playing Thousand Suns to use the Tzeentch stuff, but you have the option.
Mm-hmm.
If you take the Mark of Tzeentch. And then you've got demon weapons, which are, hey, you must be a demon to take them. So it's like, hey, if you want those weapons, well, you have to be a demon prince with your Chaos Lord.
Yeah.
And you look at that list, then compare it to what you get now in 40k. Are they really your guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Compare from a gameplay expression point of view, not nearly as much. Regrettably.
Well, the game pieces.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. Your guys
are always game pieces.
Yeah.
But you know
Insofar as they're yours because you've built them and you've painted them, right? But the lack of characterization that you're able to add through this sort of design space is definitely
You've
sorely
leased them from Games
missing.
Workshop trademark. You know,
It definitely feels that way more, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm waiting for the new Captain and Terminator product to be sold. That'll have the Thunderhammer Storm Shield, and then Games Workshop will do the hear me and rejoice Loki meme.
Mm-hmm.
Behold what I've brought for you from Mount Olympus.
Yeah.
Be grateful. And I'm just waiting
Absolutely.
to have my rage-fueled reaction. Because I think it's inevitable. Because the intentional withholding of these options is only, in my mind, it can only be to serve a future product down the line. To discourage the kit bashing and, it's kind of like anti-hobby business practices, which is a step way beyond the pale. It's too egregious, I think. Because I think we are all hobby first in that regard, but yeah, I think that's the only thing it serves. Just so they can sell a different product later, which is super lame.
No, I agree.
Yeah, any other tangentially related topics to Wargear? Or have we about covered it? There's definitely been some revelations in this one that I did not expect, so I'm definitely happy I brought this topic to you guys.
I would say it's the extra things that, again, to double down on the point I made earlier, the extra things that taking a specific faction's rules, that door that opens. Because limitations on Wargear can be as exciting as the Wargear. Because limitations and trade-offs are an interesting facet of the game. You might take a unit and go, well, look, it doesn't have access to this Wargear, but it's got this really neat niche thing that's available to it, which I like instead, and it serves a role in my army. Both are important. You can't just go have all the Wargear, it's free of all repercussions and responsibility, There is a happy point in the middle there, and what 3.5 Chaos did so well was it went, cool, you want to take, Corn, these units are now off the table to you.
Yes.
And that helps the balance because, it helps the balance because now you can't just go and take units that might be incredibly strong and then double down on that by taking a specific faction. It goes, no, sorry, you can't take those.
Well, this is the thing, right? You can, if you take away options in a certain way, it really works. It helps with player expression. So if you say to somebody, you can't have... Soup armies back then weren't really a thing. Because you could do it, but you were cutting your own balls off to do so. Do you know what I mean? You could create a Space Marine soup if you really wanted to. But you'd lose most games, right? Because the game rewarded you for picking your lane and saying, okay, I'm going to have, as Maki just said there, Corn Berserkers. And... that there were rules that dictated, if you have all Space Marines and no demons, dude, your guys are very, very, very powerful. Because you're literally the dudes. You're Corn Berserkers, man. You're gonna go in there and wreck face. If you really lent into it, you could create some really powerful armies. Again, they are drawbacks because they should do. What happens if the enemy doesn't just run away or get killed in combat? Well, you're probably gonna lose. Unless you roll really well. But you can... Players don't mind restrictions if it allows them to express themselves and be different to everybody else, right? The only way restrictions become a thing that are negative is if they're there for anything other than player expression, right? If you can't be bothered writing rules and so you restrict them, that's bad, right? Yeah, and that's what Games Workshop do most of the time. They can't be bothered with complexity, so they dumb it down and they put in a load of restrictions to what you can and can't do. Back in the day, when you had people like Andy Chambers and Rick Priestley and all these other guys writing rules, the restrictions were there because, number one, the law says so. Go and do some reading. And number two, if you actually go into if you say, I want to do a Khorne Berserker army and I want to work within the restrictions of that Khorne Berserker army to give myself, all of the war gear that really makes my guys my own, your army is fucking powerful at being Khorne Berserkers. Like, really good. It's the reason why Eldar were so feared. Eldar were absolutely feared. Because in the hands of somebody who didn't know what they were doing, or they was an average hobbyist, they were a bit of a glass cannon. right? Because they try and take everything. They try and, all of the lovely little bits they would try and take. But if you really went striking scorpions, or you really went dark reapers, you'd obliterate armies. You'd cut through them like a hot knife through butter because you themed your army around a thing, and your playstyle is geared towards a thing that's within the Eldar armory, and they're your dudes. That was the special nature of, I'd say, 3rd to around 6th edition. That was the special nature of 40k back then, in my opinion.
So didn't realize I was muted. Yo, I'm in total. Yeah, no, that makes sense, dude. It makes perfect sense. And I couldn't help but chuckle to myself, which is why I self-muted, because when you were mentioning people are happy to take restrictions if, I think the phrasing you use is if it makes them feel special, and I couldn't help but think of modern 10th edition World Eaters and Emperor's Children, just people cutting their armies and the options available to them, just being oh, look at my Primarch's back, there he is, look, I'm special.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is now. It's gimmicks. It's gimmicks. Yeah, you got Fulgrim. You got no options, but you got Fulgrim back. Great. I've got this one eyesore with a face like a fucking retard that I've got him in front of my force.
You don't have Chaos Space Marines, marked Slanesh. You have not Incursors, Interruptors.
Whatever. Some sort of
specially branded. It's
Actors thing, whatever it is.
Yeah, and I think that feels cheap, personally, right? You get away with that with Thousand Sons because they're such extreme. They're so different than Chaos Space Marines, right? Very special case. But for everyone else, it feels a bit lame. A bit lame, to put it mildly.
It is.
Can I also add? Sorry, I'm
for sure.
Just
Please.
sending you some more pictures. I didn't include Khan, but this is from the Khorne rules for 3.5, right? Have a look at that. They do more with that and just a stock Chaos Space Marine Codex. Jeez, 23 years ago than they have now.
Can I just say,
with
artwork,
all the technological advancements that was really why I wanted to interrupt. Sorry,
dude.
Holy crap! Look at it,
dude.
Just what's that meme of Randy Marsh sitting there and in the room just plastered in it.
It's the demon one more than anything else. I know the Space Marine's cool, but that demon,
all of them are good.
There, dude, it goes fucking hard. You've got
all of them.
You've got a World Eaters book in your hands, motherfucker. You read this, I will. Yeah, I will, Khan. I'll read this. I'll read the shit out of it. But this is put your heavy metal, CD on and read your World Eaters Codex.
Have a look, because you guys both know how much I despise modern Death Guard. How they look like they got coral wreaths and all that on them. Have a look at the imagery and what they look like. And then look how terrifying Typhus looks, and then compare that to Saturday Night Fever Typhus that we have now for 40k.
Saturday Night Fever.
Dude, they look
rad.
Like they're in pain. You know what I mean? They look like they're in pain.
Fucking grim. Even the Emperor's Children is just creepy. I remember looking at that as a kid, just being ugh, when his little finger mouth that he's got going on.
Oh yeah, I love this artwork.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the art from 3.5 is. I'll go through and I'll pick out some of the best art for you to put up.
Nightmare fuel for sure.
But, can you notice, by the way,
sad art.
Number one, the guy's got a fucking cod piece on, awesome.
This is what I'm saying.
Number two,
okay,
who? Hey, I want to play 40k. I wonder who the bad guys are. There you go.
Yeah.
This is the thing.
Pretty clear.
Yeah, you can have a grimdark setting and still have bad guys in it. Yeah, it's fine. This guy's got a breast and a cod piece, and he got fingers for teeth. Yeah, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. Just fucking. And then you look at Space Marines compared to these, they still look brutal. But they weren't these guys. They weren't these guys. These guys are way too far gone.
Nothing's
And again,
complete without Adrian Smith artwork.
Yeah, the Chaos players would be
Yeah,
like, well,
it's
joke's
awesome.
on you, I'm into that shit, you know what I mean? And that's why they play Chaos, because they were a bit weird. They're a bit odd. You know?
Again,
It's
when
just
you
the golden
when you
age, isn't it?
see when you see the imagery and you compare that to like the really almost sanitized version you have now, you look at these guys, you just think these guys are just feral barbarians.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know?
you really get the Lost and the Damned from them,
You
right?
do.
And you get that.
You do.
Through artwork, anyways, right? Like they're
Old,
so well
old
characterized.
Yeah.
And I do apologize for like if it spams the chat to everyone, but it's just too good.
Well,
not
you've
to
given me
share.
my next topic, and that for grimdark therapy, and that is examining the golden age of 40k.
Ah.
So I think we're going to do that with artwork and rules that we like, and memories that we have. It's going to be more positive grimdark therapy. We're going to examine the good old days, and maybe inspire people to write their own rules, or maybe go back to previous editions and things. Maybe we can do that, because some of this shit is just chef's
Even
kiss. It's just
even
absolute-
Nurglings. I'm going to share a picture of Nurglings with you.
I
and
know
you'll be
the one.
These things
I know.
are,
I
are creepy.
I
Yeah,
bet I
think
know the one you're
yeah,
using.
I know the one you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
There it is. Oh God. Get out of here.
Cute.
Yeah, and now they're all like smiling little fucking just mischievous gremlins.
Like,
I mean,
you would not want these Nurglings anywhere near you. It's just like, yeah, fuck that shit. You can
Yeah, it's cursed.
get away.
Yeah, nope.
They also have the best ever version of Raptors this edition. Have a look at this one. Just this guardsman just being fucking impaled by a fucking raptor coming into land.
Yeah.
Yeah. Entire back just broken, just folding over.
Yeah,
his
just
fucking-
claws of the raptor's foot just going clean through him.
Naturally. Yep.
Oh, so flipping good.
Dude, it's even the momentum of
even
art's
the
been lost.
vehicles.
We don't have momentum anymore. You can feel this guy's coming down from the sky, and it's just not even. Yeah, and he's an Emperor's Children raptor as well, so this is not something you see often, So it's giving you another in to say, yeah, it's not just Night Lords. Here is a Noise Marine doing it. Just. Ugh.
Dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then even this Night Lords one, like, I mean, how long has it been since you've seen a Predator tank look scary and intimidating? This Night Lords artwork, you can see them just like holding regular humans as like captives. And they're just terrified. There's like corpses hanging up in the background of the image and some, classic Vlad the Impaler stuff. I mean, even the word bearers, I'll send a picture of the word bearers. They look like, I saw this picture and I wanted to build a Dark Apostle for word bearers as a kid growing up when I saw this picture.
Oh, that one,
Classic,
yeah. That's the Magdrum Guard artwork. That they still use this. They still put this in certain things about their capital world. It's that, but with like loads of like angels and things behind him, like Dark Angel, not those Dark Angels. Well, maybe those Dark Angel, but then they have like they have your dark cherubs and demons and shit behind them, and it's just so cool, man. Just like the fact that he's not, that's not a warlike pose either. He's just like pointing the way, like, yes, walk that way.
Now I'm gonna trigger Kaifa because I'm gonna start sharing what the Tyranids looked like from this edition.
Yeah, the guy's actually beating up tanks like they're supposed to, like just like.
Oh, imagine
Yeah, just
that.
literally flipping over tanks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get the appeal in wanting to blast the bugs, like do the Starship Troopers, see the swarm and make a big dent into them. So, like, I understand, like, you want to be able to kill Tyranids to a much easier degree than something in power armor. I get that. They're a horde army. They're kind of made to be expendable. Overwhelm them with numbers, that whole shtick, it makes sense. But, man, they should at least be lethal enough to, when you ram a Carnifex into a Rhino, it shouldn't even be a question.
It detonates.
Yeah.
You just literally just yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Well, because-
some of this stuff is so grim to look at. It's in the best possible way.
Oh, yeah. That other Hive Tyrant.
This
The
kind
one
of shit
fighting orcs?
should.
So cool.
40k should intimidate your parents. that they should look over your shoulder and go, whoa, whoa, whoa.
What are you getting
And your
into?
dad's secretly like, that's badass, son. But he can't say nothing. He's like, because your mum's name, like, that's badass, son. You want to carry on doing that. That's a hobby with some chest hair. That's...
It actually makes Tyranids look not cutesy, but it actually makes them look intimidating because it's something about the black and white sort of scribbled artwork style that makes it look very like Geiger-esque, which plays into, that real theme. And there's something just...
Yeah, I mean, that art, I wish I could find a high-res version of it. The one with the Hive Tyrant fighting orcs. That's awesome.
So even the Eldar are copping it because, this is back when you were allowed to be intimidating in your own codex. You didn't just have to bitch out so that someone else could look better than you. And the Tyranids in here are like, yeah, they'll swarm and build a pile of their own corpses to reach a jet bike to attack the jet bike rider. Like, they do not care. And the picture of like the Catachans with the Death Leaper or the Lictor coming out at them from the shadows, or even the world with like the spore chimneys growing and like all the little spores are just like Sarlacc maws growing out of them with tendrils that are just grabbing humans and just feeding them in for biomass. That's fucking grim as fuck. And yeah, there's just so much like character,
No, for sure. I mean, yeah, not quite related to Wargear, but from definitely a hallmark from a different time.
Yeah, but this is grimdark therapy. Like, we start on a subject and we move away and we explore different things related to that subject.
Yeah, no, not opposed to it.
And then when I give you some modern artwork, compare and contrast to your heart's content.
Oh God, yeah. Hey guys, we're the Tyranids. You ready to play?
Yeah, there's a certain quality that's missing.
He's posing for the camera.
Yeah, I mean, this is cover art. It's not like the... So there's a different sort of purpose this art serves than...
This is a Tyranid selfie.
Yeah, very much so. Right?
This is
Well, okay, I'll show you the 4th edition cover art.
I don't... That isn't to say that your point's invalid or the contrast you're presenting is invalid, Mecca. It is very apparent because even the internal flavorful artwork within the codex where these black and white images...
And that's the 4th edition codex.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same artwork we were just looking at with him annihilating a tank. Fuck you, Space Marines.
It's like, immediately telling you, like, a tank can't stand up to this thing. It's visual language, right?
By the way, other factions are allowed to lose an artwork.
But...
Other factions are allowed to lose an artwork, even on the front cover. Right? If you're a kid and you walk in going, these Space Marines, these Ultramarines are fucking stupid. Like, I'm sick of these guys. And then I watched Alien the other day and you just see this, and it's just a Tyranid annihilating an Ultramarines Rhino. You're just like, yeah, there's my guys.
See, whereas this modern art, and I'll share some more images, not because I hate them, there's such a different style, because if you look at the old stuff, like, the old stuff has a very similar thing. Here you have like a Neurolictor or something, one of those type of things, and it's like hoisting up a commissar. But in the old Adrian Smith artwork above, like with the tendrils, feeding him into the star, you can see their faces. You can see the horror in their eyes, the emaciated skulls, and, as they're being like shredded by these tendrils. Here it's just like very clean, yes, the Tyranids, they're eating a commissar. You don't see his face. It's very impersonal. It's very inhuman. And when you see the swarm of them against the orcs in the last picture I sent through, it's like, yeah, I guess you can't really make out much in it. But unlike in the old arc where it's just brutal, where like the orc was literally being like choked out and like impaled while his friend watches.
Well, it's the thing, like in the back of the Black Commissar, the new one, facing the wrong direction. The background is just noise. There's nothing there. It's color. It's color, and there's no wider conflict going on. We can't piece together the story of what's going on here. Maybe it's a hive world, don't know, right? You know, but like the artwork before, yeah, you can see their faces. You can see, oh no, we're about to get eaten by Tyranids. But you can see where they've come from. You can see they've corrupted this entire spire, this entire imperial framework, and now they're just devouring it piece by piece. It's the last moments of the resistance. This is what fighting the Tyranids gets you if you don't run away or defeat them. You know, this second image has no stakes. You know, because we can't identify with the commissar because we can't see him. And the rest of the picture is just there's nothing there, you know.
Could
Even
be
the
a
tank in
dead
the
body
bottom
in a
left,
commissar,
it's not wrecked.
right?
Yeah,
Could be a dead commissar. That means
Could be,
no
yeah.
fear, no emotion, just eating a body.
Yeah.
Right. Have a look at that Emperor's Children image. Now compare that to Finger Chin Boy.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I have so many tabs open. Sorry, I was like so quiet because I was setting up my the OBS to display all of
Like,
this stuff a bit
I-
easier.
I don't find this guy intimidating. He looks like a toy. In all honesty,
It's still cool in its own way. Don't get me wrong.
yeah,
But
toys can be cool. They can, yeah. And to be fair, this is the same guy, by the way, right? His midriff is exposed. He has a breast on his right breast. You know, this
It's
is the
certainly
same guy.
evocative, yeah.
Yeah, they've looked at it and said, okay, we're going to redo that.
This is not
It's the
the
same guy-
worst example of like modern artwork. I don't.
No, but it is a good example of the shift from one to the other, because the other one was overtly like if you've seen any documentaries on like S&M clubs and shit, you've seen that first guy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and the thing is, like, I don't want to just find like the saddest, most pathetic image from 40k because that does a disservice, you know, to the point I'm trying to make.
it's also
If I'm
disingenuous.
picking,
Yeah,
you know, whereas that guy I think is a good proxy because it's the same sort of thing, right?
hmm
It's a showcase piece of an Emperor's Children champion, same sort of like leather gimpy suit thing going on, but
Mhm.
it's like it's I don't know, designed by committee is I don't know how to describe it.
It might be a bit of that. I mean, the previous examples, the black and white artwork from the 3rd through 4th edition era codexes definitely have an artistic kind. It's like an intangible quality that comes from. It feels much more artisanal. If that, I don't want to be like.
So remember the earlier picture of the bloodletters on that corn page, you know, where they're just sort of in the bottom of the page and they're just almost these shadowy, like horned
Yes.
monstrosities, like, you know, the blood flying off the axe and just the way the eyes look and how menacing that is. And then you compare it to a newer piece of artwork, right? And this is from the Total Warhammer stuff, I'm pretty sure. Games Workshop licensed artwork for Total Warhammer, right? So it's Games
another
Workshop's art.
selfie. Yeah. Hey
Right.
guys, gather in around the camera.
Not
Yeah.
terrible by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not that other picture.
Dude,
Yeah.
no, I disagree. This is awful. This is every demon in every fucking setting ever made. And the other one is Khorne demons. This could be from any game, anywhere ever. This could be from D&D, no problem. Right? No, not for me. I don't. I want to see 40k when I look at 40k. This could be anything. 40k deserves more than that. Like this could be the whole point of 40k is how unique it is. If you boil it down and say, "Hey, here are my Khorne demons." Oh, those are just demons. They're from Doom. Yeah, they're from Oblivion. I saw them in Oblivion, Elder Scrolls, and they're from Oblivion. You can't say that about the other picture. They've got hair.
Yeah,
You know, you can tell they used to be human. You know.
There's definitely a bit of like demonic genericus going on with the Khorne demon aesthetic. Well, it's more of the modern bloodletters, anyways.
It's just awful.
Do you?
So
Is it
to
possible?
really send home my point, I will use one more pair of pictures. I'll put them side by side for you, these pictures, so you can make up your own mind about what you feel is or isn't intimidating about new versus old artwork. and I will let you decide for yourself out of these images I send through, and I will try to make them all very comparable pictures of art. Okay, so just for front loading you.
Just looking at the previous contrast between the two Corrin artworks, there's a certain harshness that's lost. Like there's a, and it's not just because black and white looks edgier or more dramatic. I think there's an element to that, but there's like in the way it's rendered, there's like a harsh contrast, like a snapshot in time you get from that era of artwork. It just comes across much more visceral.
These dudes are posing for an artist.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure. Look at my skulls. Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, the previous picture that you have on screen, the black and white one, that's like you're a guardsman who's just looked to the right as they're charging you, and that's the moment in time you've seen. You know, that they're just cutting through dudes like that. It's terrifying. Whereas the other one is like, hey, dude, you want to join Khorne? I've got skulls. You know, like that kind of stuff. It's just not. It's a Saturday morning cartoon. When I say, I really do struggle to, you put words into how I'm feeling sometimes. It's just one of my flaws.
I get that.
When I say Saturday morning cartoon, ification of 40k, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. You know, this is not intimidating. And do you know what? If I'm a kid in school, I would be embarrassed to own a book that has this picture in it when there's girls around, right? The original one, you can get away with that. It's metal as fuck. Especially if you've got a metal girl walking past, she goes, "Ooh, cool," right? I know because it happened to me when I was in school. Right? You get the rocker chick walk back, go, "Ooh, what's that?" Right? That's 40k. Yeah. Oh, well, that's what 40k is. That's cool.
Oh, right? I think that's
this kind of thing. You know?
No, I think that speaks to what I was mentioning earlier. There's an edge to that other artwork, that black and white. It looks hard. You know what I'm saying? Like
anything Adrian Smith basically is going to be awesome. So the last set of pictures I sent first have the 40k current Callous Typhon versus the 3.5 version Callous Typhon.
Let me
you tell me which one you would rather bump into.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got this guy here holding his goopy hand forward.
Yeah.
Posing for
goopy
the camera,
hand.
of course.
Yep, very scary.
There is no. Do you know what the genius of the second one is? It's the scale with the human there. That's the
he's
genius.
tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's just holding him like a toy.
Like a toddler. Do you know what I mean? Like a child. He's helpless.
The first one be he could be like a fucking nurgling in some armor. You wouldn't know. Whereas, you know.
That second one, though, you know, to analyze the art, as it were, and put out, you know, pretentious turtlenecks on, the blood on the scythe, the like intestines and such hanging out of Callous Typhon's gut, like it's raw. It feels juicy, right? And it's kind of just sketched. And the destroyer hive on the back, it's like the flies and the smog coming out of it. Whereas the other guy, it's just like, I don't know, bone. You can't even tell it's really coming out of him. It's not just something in the background behind him in the artwork.
Well, it's a good example.
And the goopy hand isn't scary, right?
Well, it tells me he's evil. He's got some power.
So then the next image is a 3.5 Plague Marine.
All right, I'll load that up. Ah, very cool. Look, it's less is more.
Again, blood and spikes and just intimidating. The next one is the Forge World Siege of Rax Plague Marines. So same concept, just slightly evolved with nicer sculpts because it came in 5th edition, late 5th edition versus, you know, so it's a good 12 years apart. And like the intestines just falling out of the armor, and the armor, like the plate of armor underneath the intestines is like off to the side. It's just dangling there, like it's rusting and falling apart. It feels like his armor, and you can see like little rivets holding the plate on across the belly. Like he's just cobbling repairs on as he falls to pieces.
This is my favorite Plague Marine. Like that one. It's the flies that sets it off. You can smell this dude.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, he smells like he plays 40k.
Yeah,
and then
pretty much.
The next one is from 8th edition modern 40k I think it is, with the Faltheus or whatever in the background, and
Are those even
and you
Death
see
Guard?
how he's just got. You see how this guy just has like just random, just a couple tentacles coming out his waist.
Yeah.
Is that scarier than the image before with the intestines?
Well, do you think, apart from the scythe, are those Death Guard?
He's got a fly on his belt.
I mean, yeah, but it could be a scarab. If you really look at it, if you squint your eyes, you know, if you squint your eyes, the only thing that tells me this is Death Guard is the color and the scythe, to me, because those tentacles can be from anybody. They could be from Tzeentch or whatever, right? If you squint your eyes, that could be a scarab on his centerpiece there. They're not that bulkier. They could be Terminators from somebody else. Yeah, I just don't.
No, I see what you're saying. He
scream
could be
Death Guard.
he could be a generic Tzeentch marked guy with mutations. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it doesn't scream. If you change the
If you
colors
saw it in
around,
black and white, you might not notice. Is what you're saying.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you change the green to purple, you'd be like, oh, Tzeentch on a glance, right? But the other guys, that's the Death Guard. You can smell him through the page. You know, oh my god, look at his intent.
That's an experiment in and of itself. You turn these pictures to black and white, would you know who's who?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's an
I
interesting
definitely
experiment.
think that the three middle pictures, you know, old Typhon, old Plague Marine, and Vrax Plague Marine, would all look. You'd know that they're Death Guard. You wouldn't need to think twice. Yeah, images you can smell.
Absolutely.
Well, it very clearly characterizes like what you're looking at compared to the coral reef and the. Well, they jumped the shark with the 8th edition Death Guard. It's like they did.
They just
It's
wanted
too
to make
memey.
them very iconic, and so they over.
Yeah, but
did a
that's
style.
like fine for a veteran unit to be so overly mutated with life and fungus and mushrooms growing out of you and whatever else. But for that rank and file Plague Marine, like you want the second guy in the middle or the first artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the way that they do the artwork for Death Guard, like the tentacles and stuff,
That's awesome.
it's too Tzeentch
Oh,
for me.
yeah, no, sorry.
Always has been.
Yeah, I meant
Yeah.
the previous older style is awesome. Yeah, I agree.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a bit overblown.
The Tzeentch style is tentacles, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Plague Marines, the Death Guard, has always been like your armor is rotting, your body is rotting, it's all falling apart as you rot from within it, right? And it was a big mistake doing all the tentacles and stuff on the Death Guard. It was the wrong call, in my opinion, because it blurred the line between those two factions. Tzeentch was horrible Cthulhu horror stuff, you know, the mystery of the unknown.
No, you're right. And that's very interesting, Mecca, because I can't help but connect these. I'm doing a bit of headcanoning here, okay? I'm connecting some dots. You tell me what you think. But I can't help but feel, because Thousand Suns came out first, near at the end of 7th, right? And then they've been characterized as these very clean rubrici. I think what I'm trying to suggest here is, I think Games Workshop might have forgotten Tzeentch has to do with mutation and change. Because they didn't characterize the product using that.
They should have. I mean, Zangor. The one weird thing they did there was all the sorcerers of Tzeentch are mutated. Like the whole point of the rubric is
fair point. Yeah,
they
yeah.
aren't mutated.
Yeah, the characters you do have, some of those guys are mutated.
The rubric stopped the mutation and made the sorcerers much more powerful. So Araman considered that a success on the balance of things. Like the rest of the Legion turned to dust. That sucks. But the fact that him and all the other sorcerers like doubled their power, they went, oh. Okay, you know, so the sorcerers shouldn't be mutated at all. The Tzeentch demon princes, like unless they're aligned with Tzeentch, but they're not from 1,000 Suns, because they can't mutate, right?
Right.
They've cut themselves off from the warp in that way. What they should have had though was like possessed followers of Tzeentch, kind of like what are those dudes in Warhammer Fantasy Belt, Forsaken? They should have had a unit like that.
Yes, broken down Marines.
Yes. People who are not and the fluff just has to be part of the 1,000 Suns Legion by affiliation, not by actually being a part of the Legion originally. They're just working for them because they're mutated horrors who the other Chaos Space Marines turn away and the faction of Tzeentch has taken in. Something to that effect would have worked really, really well in my opinion.
Just to show the contrast and make the rubricae really stand out.
And it brings
too.
it shows the static stoic discipline of those automaton marines versus that cacophony of noise of like mutated, and it brings it full circle to the Wargear topic all over again, because it's like, well, that is a great example of where you could have done something interesting, in the unit itself, or like, as opposed to just, all right, you have Zangors who don't even seem like mutated humans. They're just beastmen. They're like, how do you know they're not just alien bird people? That you found, like how Vespid are alien bug people. Like, if Zangors themselves were more like obviously once guardsmen, like, wearing like guardsman's armor and had like mutated out of it, that'd be far more terrifying. Because like that could happen to you.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's kind of the fear of spawn, isn't it? Chaos spawn. Is that,
Yes.
if you're not totally involved in your belief in the dark gods, or your body can't handle it, this is what you're going to become. It's not nice.
So, yeah, I
There's something to it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I know we've straight off topic, but that's the whole point of Grimdark Therapy.
Yeah.
It's just talking, right? It's just chatting. It's
We're
like
just
a podcast. Because that's how we expect most people to view this, really, is like listen to it as a long format. And it's like just the character in Wargear, the character in the artwork, there's something very, very different that happened in the past. And when I look back at it, I'm like, yes, that's the reason why I got into this. I see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I look back at some of that artwork, like the Tyrannid stuff, watching that, like, Death Leaper jumping the catachans, and like one of them is trying to like pull his buddy out from under the nids. It's like, these guys are in for a bad time. They're not coming out of that. Or the one with the orcs, the Octurus War, where like an orc has fear in its eyes and he's screaming in agony as the Hive Tyrant is having his way with him. It's like,
it's so
the
awesome,
orcs are scared.
Yeah.
The orcs are scared? Like, that's brutal. That's some brutal shit.
Absolutely.
So it makes them scary. And in every one of those old pieces of artwork, you'll notice, every one of them, it's not just a picture of a Tyrannid. It's a picture of a Tyrannid doing something. Showing its strength, its power, or how terrifying it is. There are always people or vehicles for perspective in the shot being eradicated, being overrun. They're not just posing for the camera, like there's his LinkedIn profile of Hive Tyrant. It is, it's supposed to be terrifying, and it is. Every single one of those, there's people. There's not a single one of those images where it's just...
Interesting observation. I wonder...
In the new stuff...
Yeah, I was just wondering that.
Yeah, in the new stuff, like the Eldar one, I guess there's kind of a Guardian in the bottom right corner, but he's wearing a helmet. You can't see his expressions. And it's Wraithguard in the other corner. Well, they're automata. So it's not scary.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not.
It's expressionless. And yeah, okay,
I can't
see the expression of a tank, but I can, put two and two together and go, ooh, tank being ripped apart by a giant bug, that is probably a bad thing.
Yeah, a tank being flipped over.
Because if a tank can't protect me, nothing can, right?
Right.
That's what your brain says. So yeah, it's just way scarier, and you don't have that in any of the other artwork, realistically. So, I don't know, take from that what you will. Maybe I'm just babbling shit.
No, you're right.
Yeah, there's something to it, dude. There's something to it. It aligns, in this case, with the lack of Wargear. The modern Wargear philosophy is similar to the modern art philosophy with regards to 40k. There's I don't know if you can call it Flanderization necessarily. There might be a bit of that, but all the harsh edges, the stark contrast, the snapshot in time, right? That vibe of all these older pieces.
Yeah.
Like these older paintings, they
100%.
definitely have a harsher use of shadow, right? And it creates just it's tough to talk about art in general because there's like I don't think there's words for all the intangible qualities that come with like illustrations and paintings and renderings and all of that, but there's definitely a harshness to what's being depicted. Even though, like, look, in the new picture that the Yandin are being overrun, and you have the Hormagaunts, the sharp teeth, and the scything talons are there, you know.
Yeah.
But it's a vibe thing, I think.
Remember when Carnifex was cool? Here you go, Kaifa. This will warm the cockles of your heart.
Ah, dude, yeah, hell yeah. Look at this, and the head options. You know what kills me, Maka, because this kit is
Like,
the
it
same
still has
kit.
all those. What do you do with them now? They're just there for looks.
Yeah.
Back then, it was like, this means something.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Carnifex is a great example because...
And they're encouraging you to make it that way.
Mm-hmm. All of
They're
these
like, what do you
different
want to
plates
do?
mean something.
Look at all these different... Yeah, look at all the different ways we built this Carnifex. Don't you want to do that at home?
Let me try and zoom
Don't
out
you,
here.
little Billy, want to... Don't you
He's
want
the
to...
enhanced sense head with like he's just got more eyes. That's amazing.
Yeah, he's got like
And the
grasshopper
antenna,
heads,
yeah.
or antennas, yeah.
Got an antenna, yeah. I love it.
I like that one. I like the regenerate one, and I like the bioplasma one's actually not bad either. Although now is obviously replaced by the screamer killer, which I do really, really like as a model. But the tusked one, especially when it had, if
cool.
you took the Forge World upgrade one with like the wrecking ball arms,
Yeah.
and the crushing core,
The
like
Stone
a
Crusher
giant crab core.
Carnifex. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad.
And it has like the battering rams on its back.
Oh, it's metal as fuck. It's so cool. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And all of these options, as you can see, I'm pretty sure correlate to the options that you shared initially, the first image of all the upgrades, right? You have your senses, your bioplasm upgrade, your acid maw upgrade. They all have, they're all evocative of the kinds of upgrades you could potentially spawn if you were the general of this army. And now, well, the Carnifex can reactive move when it gets shot. That's what it does. That's what it does now. It's not this versatile platform. Like the way the box Dreadnought was, like, similar thing, right? Except the box Dreadnought is a kit that's no longer available. But it was this versatile platform that could, it's a problem solver in a list. It's like, oh, do I need more anti-horde? Well, maybe I'll go Devourer, DAC effects, right? Do I need to crush tanks? Or maybe I'll go with the Crab Claws and the Stone Crusher. Oh, yeah, these I've adored these.
Got a Stone Crusher.
Yeah, the Stone Crusher's so cool. Like, look at this thing with the organic flail. I'm not a big guy into flails, but this gets a pass just for how fucking
The
cool
movement
it
of the
is.
model makes it. The fact that
Yeah.
he's swinging it, he's like limbering up to do it. Like, that's cool. That's some cool ass shit right there.
And actually having it in person and seeing those, like, the battering rams over the carapace, over the head, they work so well on the, like, when you physically, because it's always a disambiguation, right, between seeing a picture and having it in the flesh. And it looks so good in the flesh, this one. Like, it's one that really benefits from holding it in person and seeing what it looks like when it's, like, painted all up and just, ugh. Like, it looks like it can just demolish its way and it will flip over land raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that thing away from my tank.
Yeah. So, I have a lot of love for Tyranids, and especially that particular time period of Tyranids. It was a bit of a transition away from the sort of more xenomorph queen look with, like, the flared out head.
Right.
The big crest. It was going away to that more refined cranium, ridged cranium that they have now.
Which edition did the Stone Crusher debut? If you can recall.
I think it was either late 4th or the very beginning of 5th. I think it might have been Anphelion Project at a guess. The Forge World book. which also gave us the Malanthrope, which is to this day
awesome sculpt.
One of my favorite Tyranid sculpts.
Yeah.
I don't care for the Dimacheron, but the Malanthrope, like, it nailed creepy, creepy, tall, not, even the artwork for it's good. Jeez, I'll put that in. Creepy tall, not Zoanthrope, not Venomthrope. It was creepier than them because I think it's a weird quirk, right? But not having giant long tentacles and arms somehow worked in its favor. It was like there's something more terrifying about it having like these minuscule limbs. Because like you knew that it was threatening despite looking physically weak.
Right, yeah, it's the Zoanthrope thing, right? It's these vestigial limbs that's like, oh, they're there, but they're clearly not what it's going to be using against you. So what the hell is this thing?
Yeah. And that the coconut crab paint scheme that everyone loves. It looks very, very, very good.
So this is actually kind of interesting to me because the Malanthrope sculpt, the Forge World one, again, I'm with you. I love this model. I have one in my collection too. The way this is sculpted, and I think this is the official Forge World photo you have here with the green.
Yes, that's the Anphelion Forge World one.
The way this is sculpted has that harshness of that older artwork, and I don't know how to verbalize. I don't know what. Like, again, I feel a bit awkward talking about artwork. There's a certain quality to this that is, it feels harsh the way the modern way the bugs are sculpted. They don't have this.
It feels sharp. It feels aggressive.
Yeah. Like the way it's rendered feels, or all the details make it feel very Geiger-esque. And you don't really have that on the... you take your Tyranid Warrior, for example.
It's also, like,
or
it's a
new
huge
Raveners,
model comparatively to a lot of what came later.
Oh, yeah, this is on a 60mm base. This guy's huge.
Yeah, and when you see it next to... I've got a picture of one next to a Fire Warrior. It gives you an idea of the size, and that makes it more intimidating again, seeing just how much bigger it is.
Mm-hmm. I'm just putting up the coconut crab. I think it's Catgut. Go check out Catgut's YouTube channel, guys. He paints cool.
Yeah.
Well, this scheme, anyway.
Beautiful Tyranids.
Yeah, it served as inspiration for my Hive fleet. I copied the
I did a similar thing with my Hive fleet, yeah.
Yeah, it's just awesome. What a great aesthetic. Oh yeah, this artwork. No, the comparison rather with the Fire Warrior. Poor guy. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neither of them are good at melee, but I feel like this isn't a fight that the Fire
Fire
Warrior is going to win regardless.
No, that guy's going to scooch low. He's going to squat down, and all those tentacles in his mouth are going to eat up that guy for sure.
Yeah. So, and to me, that is just so much more scary and intimidating than a lot of like those, like Malanthropes and This is the Malanthrope. Toxicrene and Exocrine. All that. They're so horrid compared to this. This is way more scary than those. Those are just like they look like something you throw together as a kit bash out of all the leftover biomorphs that are sitting in your bits box. Like, I built a Carfax, I've got all these plates left over and arms. What do I do? Fuck it. We'll make another Tyranid out of them.
Yeah, the Toxicrene is it's not a kit I particularly like, or a unit I particularly like anyways.
The Haruspecs. And
I like the Haruspecs more than the Exocrine, but there's definitely a different timeline where it just looks way cooler.
I am sorry to interrupt the Tyranid love in here, but
how dare you?
I have an idea for next week. Would you guys be up for doing? I know Macca's next, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's Macca's turn next. Mm-hmm. Would you guys be up for doing 2 episodes next week?
I should be able to make that work.
Potentially, just depends on the days.
Yeah, same.
Okay. Well, I can do any day. So
what do you have in mind?
This time. So I have the the subject fresh in my mind, and that is the golden age of Warhammer 40,000 and examination. That'll be my one. We'll go over 3rd to maybe 6th edition and look at what's cool and what isn't, and what works, what doesn't. Because it just follows on from this one. But like, it would also be good to have Macca's in between that, because it's his turn next, obviously. So. But I do want to keep that fresh in my mind, because I know we've got lots of artwork there. People are going to go away and think, oh yeah, what is the Golden Age? Okay, what was the best codex of the Golden Age? What really got to me, and that kind of a thing. And we'll do that kind of a thing. I don't know if Macca already has a subject for his thing. Do you have a subject yet, Macca, or are you?
I do. If you want me to share it, and that is, is it time for print to go?
Oh yeah, you mentioned that. Okay, yeah, cool.
Those kind of go in together as well. Yeah, getting rid of print and then examining when print was at its best.
Oh, it's a bit of an arc.
It does work.
A bit of a grimdark therapy arc. Very cool.
Okay.
I'm gonna put in a picture here just for you, North, as well.
All right, you love this.
Yeah, that's mean.
Yeah. I mean.
Well, I'll pull it up for the stream, or for the recording.
I mean, the original. I think there's. I need to find that picture somewhere. Like it was around. I think it was a Grey Knight, black and white, but he's just holding a demon's head, and I was like, dude, that's just. Oh, like that was just me. I was like, yeah, I'm collecting these guys. Yeah, here we go. Found it.
See, like it's the vibe, man. It's the harsh. Well, the subject matter is harsher, but the rendering is also just harsher. It has character, man.
So this was done in his own studio, and it wasn't going to be used in 40k until like they literally bought it as a single piece, and that you still can't see the legs. You never finished it, but look at that. Like that's a great
awesome,
right?
Totally awesome.
That's the shit. You know that's what got me to go. Yeah, I'm collecting these. Like this is just move. Yeah, that is a knight in space. I don't know what the Dark Angels are doing or the Black Templars, but that is a knight in space.
Well, you see how cool this is? It's a. I know an Astarte is bigger than a man, but what you're looking at is an individual who's taken on the Balrog, right? It's not the Dread Knight that's holding that's fighting. It's not even stabbing because you don't have the victories, but that's just locked in combat with a greater demon. This is epic, dude. And I don't want to like, that's an overused word, but yeah, this guy's
he's just
awesome.
striding out of, and he doesn't need any of the background noise. There he is, and that's what he does. He just killed this demon, and he's metal as fuck. He's walking towards you, that kind of a thing. I know Macca did the artwork above as well, which is very similar in style, which why I can tell it's the same artist. But you get like, it's just cool, and then you get the modern one where it's just like, yeah. Here are your silver space marines.
Yeah, it's
trademark.
Like I don't want to shit on it. Like it's not, like it's nice, but it doesn't have that harsh quality that you associate with 40k, or that you did associate with 40k.
What is he doing?
Two guys.
Like, what is he even doing? He just. You're shooting a demon, dude. A guardsman can shoot a demon. Do you know what I mean? I really cool. I've always wanted to see a Grey Knight artwork of the Grey Knight standing there and melting them just by standing there. Right? They're just melting, and they got their hands up going as the light comes out of him. That's a Grey Knight. Shooting a demon in the face is beneath a Grey Knight. It's like, no. Do you know what? Like, this is not for demons, right? My body is for demons. That's what kills them. And why are his hips like Taylor Swift? What's going on? Like, why? I don't know.
Oh yeah, that aside, at least. So I think these are fan arts. Are they, Macca? Or are they official art? I mean, regardless, at least this artwork that you're talking about.
I'm trying to only pick the official art, and it's depressing.
Perfect. Okay.
The fan art is pretty good of Grey Knights. They do a good job.
The artwork you're talking about here, I get what you're saying there, North, but this one at least has it's harsher.
Yeah.
In the way it's
I get
what's
that.
happening here. I do like that.
Now
what's
this
going on in the foreground here?
this bottom one that Matt could just put on, right? This is also one that I would say it's color, but it epitomizes. I like this artwork. I don't know whether I think it's more of a modern piece.
It might
but
be.
it's the
5th edition from memory.
But it
right.
So maybe not. But
you got the Bloodthirster there in the foreground, just off camera, and he's been challenged by the Grey Knight.
I actually think it's
Paladin.
Skull Taker because that's a cloak of skulls. I reckon.
yeah, it might be.
I think it's
Yeah.
Skull Taker.
But
Maybe
still,
it is.
it's an intimidating named character that this badass paladin's dueling
Well,
against. Man.
he's even doing like the Guard of the Hawk. He's even doing a knightly stance. Like he's ready. Like it's the ready position. The sword fighting, the European two-hander.
This is great. Like the composition here is super strong, man. You got
So
Demon in the
it's not
foreground.
just that it's a good art piece. They've done the homework. Like he's wearing knightly armor, and he's in the ready position. If you were dueling another swordsman, this is what you do. And it's just fucking badass.
Yeah.
It's
This
just
is
cool.
This is a solid piece. This is like the Hive Tyrant of the Orcs, but rendered better because we got some color. You got the hot and cool contrast. You got the swords crossing. This is just a solid piece. I love this.
Yeah.
Yep. Much better. And it's harsh, right? Like, I wonder if you made this black and white, if it would read like the other artworks.
Well, can you see the knights in the background are moving away? Right? So obviously they've got another objective, and Skulltaker's trying to stop them. And this one Grey Knight champion's gone, no, you guys go on. I'll hold him here. I'll slay this motherfucker. You guys go on, right?
Yeah.
That kind of heroic thing he's doing. You can just tell the stories in the picture.
Yeah, they're respecting
there are
the
no
duel.
stories in modern 40k pictures. We saw the Tyranid one before. It's the commissar about to be eaten. Is he alive? Is he dead? What world is he on? What's going on? We don't know. In this one, there's a story. We can see this is the last stand, maybe, of a Grey Knight. Or, Skulltaker can come back. So you might actually beat Skulltaker. We don't know, right? We don't know the ending. But we want to, so we're going to go buy ourselves some Grey Knights and play the game. Look how it works! It's just great. Look how it works. My God. 40k. Can't beat it.
Who'd
When
have
it's on
thunk it?
Blob. When it's on Blob, you can't beat it.
Yeah, I like the Grey Knight fighting the Plague Bearers, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
It is...
Crow.
It is neat.
Castellan Crow. Yeah, he's the dude.
It's just
And then
more painterly rendering. I like it. You don't need everything clearly defined, right? I get it.
Well, it's chaos.
Yeah.
got a newer piece of art to go with it from the 40k, more current 40k art. Yeah. Yep. Of all the art that's
Awesome.
ever been, that is some of it.
Let's all lie down. That's awesome. Let's all have a little lie down in the background.
They're defeated, don't you get it? They're fighting such evil enemies. Could you imagine this is your codex cover and then your guys are laying down defeated on the cover?
I understand
pretty
he's
much
an
is the
apothecary.
at this point, mate.
I understand he's an apothecary. Yeah. But there's a story here though. Like he's removed the gene seed and he's like, right, I now need to get out of here with the gene seed. I'm challenging the enemy that killed my brothers. Okay, get it, cool. It's still a lame piece of artwork. Your artwork can tell a story whilst being not very good. And where's the contrast? There's no contrast. There's no enemy here to defeat. There's just we're striding forward. The weapons are kind of out of whack in the size of them. I don't know, dude. And Space Marines aren't fat, by the way. Like this is not. Those are normal. Those aren't Terminators. That's a normal Space Marine. That's a normal Grey Knight.
Yeah, he's a bit rotund.
He's chunky. He's a chunky boy, and
Maybe that's your new Gravis Terminator North. Gravis Apothecary Terminator. There he is.
I'm absolutely dreading them doing. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Please, just leave us with our bad sculpts. We don't care anymore. just leave it. Just don't. I'd rather have shit than what you're gonna give me at this point, and that goes for lore and models. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone. Don't rape me, please. I've had enough. My arsehole is sore. Can I just I'm tapping out. All right. My Dread Knight's got a dress. I'm fine now. I'm all right.
See, now,
Just give the Space Wolves more things. They can have more things. The Space Wolves can have our things. There you go. No problem. You have all of our things. We'll just stick here and we'll make our own. Cheers. Fine. We'll be okay. A sorry state of affairs that I say that is that, I'd rather have nothing than what Games Workshop might give me.
So look, sometimes not having Games Workshop's attention serves you better. Like I would almost guarantee that if the Iron Hands would be worse off if Games Workshop gave them attention.
Oh yeah.
You know. Oh
yeah, like that. Yeah, because well, to be fair, like their whole aesthetic is something Games Workshop don't want.
Yeah, well,
right?
their aesthetic is this harsh, like it's this old artwork. Do you know what I mean? With like it's metal, dude.
Like the flesh is weak.
Like transhuman. They're as transhuman as you can get. They're all augmented.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Oh, I closed the other tabs. Shoot, I don't have any of that old artwork up.
All right. I think we've probably run to the natural conclusion, though. Maybe that's like a sign.
Yeah, I think we've. Well, we touched on stuff that I didn't think we would, which is, I mean, even with regards to the Wargear topic, and then, yeah, I mean, this is fun.
Yeah, it was.
I'm happy.
Yeah, I love it.
I brought it to the table, and it sounds like we can segue nicely to the next installation of.
I think Macca's next. We'll get that sorted out, scheduled, and then it'll be the third in the trilogy of what you've set up here. This be cool.
Yeah, neat. All right, well, we'll wrap it. Anything you guys have on the horizon? You wanna do a little plug or anything coming out soon?
I mean, it's relentless over here. It's 6 videos a week. We're running. No editing, all raw, no breaks. That's what we do.
It's fucking raw. Nice.
Yeah.
How about you?
And
oh, sorry.
Go on. That was it.
Yeah, I'm just not putting out much at the moment because I don't have much positive that I want to talk about. So I'd just rather not put anything out. I'm just working on a ZM table in the background. And
oh, I've been seeing that on Instagram. Yeah, you've been doing some Zone Mortalis kind of stuff.
Yeah, I designed quite a large cults page, and I'm trying to just make the things that I don't really think are out there at the moment on the market. And so I make them more for me, and then I chuck them up at a price point and go, all right, well, if a couple of people buy this, it'll pay for the effort and the time I put into making it. So I sort of break even that way. And that's been fantastic. So I did this Pathways version of Zone Mortalis, where it's like curving, winding ship corridors where the tiles all naturally sort of flow into each other to create a table, as opposed to just random columns, which the old Zone Mortalis were. So now it actually forms like a really cool layout to a ship, and I've got these accessories in there with like, tubes to put people in, and generator rooms, and consoles and controls from the wall stuff. And it's looking really good. It just needs a coat of paint because obviously it's in all different colors of plastic right now. It's like Fisher and Price version of
it's just the spools you have available, right? So
well, I used a lot of old spools. I don't want to just throw them in the bin.
Yeah, of course.
I can afford to, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather not waste and throw more plastic into landfill for no bloody good reason. So
yeah,
that's just what I have.
That's check that out, guys. I mean, it's on Outer Circle's Instagram. It's definitely a cool hobby project, man. I think it's neat. It's a great thing to do, and you're putting something out there that probably people can enjoy if they want to build their own sort of Zone Mortalis. If they're homebrewing in modern 40k, or if they're doing something heresy related, it'll work for either. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how it's come out. So
you don't have any pictures on hand, do you?
A couple weeks. I can probably chuck one or two quickly in the.
You can send it to me after too. I'll drop it in
chat.
if it's not on hand. But yeah, it's definitely a cool thing to check out. It's a cool project. But I guess we'll wrap up the call here, guys. Thanks for sticking around until the end. Be sure to check out Maka's channel, The Outer Circle, Northern Exile's channel, Northern Exile, and oh, there we go. Perfect. I'll toss this up. Yeah, it's neat, dude. Very neat project.
Yeah, just laying it out as the 4x4 table.
Mm-hmm.
Work's still ongoing, obviously, but you can see what it kind of looks like now. And then I'll put in the corridors, the doorways, and that to block off the sections of the table. They all slot together, and I wanted it to be where there's no like blank spaces. So I wanted the walls to actually be doing something, that they weren't just solid columns. So I have like pipeways and little generators and fuel tanks inside the walls, and then I'll have more accessories to go in them. So it actually looks like there's no empty spots on the ship. And I have another version of this that I did, which is in single tile width instead of here it's double tile width. So you can do like Space Crusade or Space Hulk games in like that narrow, confined, winding corridors.
Yeah, that's cool.
So,
I like it.
So yeah, that's what's happening. So I 3D draw all this stuff, and yeah, you can see I'm just roughing it out. It's not all glued together and painted, but whatever. You get the idea.
Mm-hmm. No, it's gonna be great when it comes together. It's like
It'll make for really fun games because of the different pathways that there are in it.
Mm-hmm.
And controlling the corridor is going to be like crucial. But then once I add more barricades and doorways with like closed doors that cut the routes off, it's going to really add, a new dynamic. Cool. And I like the curves. I thought I'd never seen curved Zone Mortalis.
Well, it
so
adds
I came up
something
with these
for
curved
sure.
sections.
Yeah,
So,
it feels a bit more dynamic, more interesting. Visually, it's interesting to look at for sure.
Yeah, it's different. It's something different. So yeah, I'm pretty happy overall. So, yay!
Yeah, right on. All right, well, let's wrap this up. We're nearly coming up on 2 hours.
Right on, dudes.
I think I already did the outros and the plugs. We'll catch everybody in the next Grimdark Therapy.
Bye.
See ya.
Well, that's a wrap on this collaborative hobby chat. If you enjoyed this video, there are buttons for liking, sharing, and subscribing. And as always, a special thanks to Julius Maximus, as well as my other generous patrons and channel members. Patrons and channel members get early access to videos. Just a little something for those who help keep the dream alive. Anyways, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.